So you picked up the Sony 200 to 600 millimeter, and you're probably wondering, what are some accessories I need for this lens? Well, I've got you covered. In this video, I'm going to go over what I believe are the top 5 must-have accessories to complement your experience with this lens. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, up first is the UV filter. I know this one's kind of boring, but hear me out. I used to be one of those people that was like, why would I put a cheap piece of glass on a nice high-end lens? If anything, it's going to deteriorate my image quality. And I figured as long as I used a lens hood and I was careful, I wouldn't have to really worry about it. And then I somehow managed to get a tiny scratch on my 135mm G Master. Now I use UV filters. It's really cheap insurance, so I'd highly recommend it. Now if you're looking for one, just keep in mind that this lens is a 95mm front filter thread, and I wouldn't break the bank. Just look for one that has good reviews and is priced reasonably, but I'll link the one I went with below. But it's peace of mind, so please consider getting yourself one of these, especially for a wildlife lens like this that is very likely to be in some harsh conditions. Alright, up next is the lens foot. Now Sony includes a really nice lens foot with this lens, but there's one sort of fundamental flaw for me, and that is it doesn't have a tripod plate built into it. And so I find that I end up putting a tripod plate onto the lens foot so I can mount it easily to my tripod, but then it makes the lens more bulky to handle, and it also makes it more difficult to pack into your bag because it makes it even wider than it already is. But the cool thing is there's some really nice third-party options, and I went with this one from iShoot, and it's a lens foot that has a Swiss Arca plate built into it. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. I love it. It has a good latch mechanism, and it works real similar to the factory Sony lens foot. But the nice thing is it has that Swiss Arca plate in there, so it makes it even tighter to pack into your bag, and it makes it really quick to go from hand holding it to mounting it onto your tripod. This one that I went with I think runs for like 40 bucks, and I feel like it's a great value, so I'd really recommend it. Alright, up next are the Peak Design anchors. Now I don't know if you've seen these before, but they're a must-have for me. And if you don't have a camera strap that you like yet, I'd recommend you take a close look at the Peak Design camera strap because it integrates into the system really well. But even if you don't have a Peak Design camera strap, this system works really great because you can use these anchors with the links that allow you to connect it to pretty much any camera strap. But anyway, the cool thing about these links is they make it really quick for you to move your camera strap from one camera body to the next camera body, or from your camera body to your lens. And what's really nice is that Sony included anchor points on the 200 to 600 where it's really handy to mount these anchors. With a heavier lens like this, you do want to support your camera system by your lens. So I'd highly recommend these anchors. They're great. Just get them. Alright, up next is the lens cover. Now I looked at a few different lens covers. There's some neoprene options and other types of skins that you can get, but this one really stood out to me. This is a lens cover from Rolan Pro, and what I like about it is it's supposed to be waterproof. It also gives you really nice protection to your lens. It's custom made for the 200 to 600, so you can access all your buttons, your switches, your zoom and focus ring. It's really well made, and I like that instead of having this bright white lens, when I have this lens cover on, it makes your lens kind of fit into the environment more and potentially make it easier to get closer to some animals or birds that are a little bit more skittish. Now it is a little bit pricey. This one comes in at about $92 here in the US, but overall it's a really awesome addition to your setup. I will mention it is a bit of a pain to put on. The first parts go on quite easy, but that last part that goes on the lens hood is a little bit of a bear. So it's going to take some patience to put on, but once you've got it on, you really don't have to take it off. So I'd highly recommend it. Alright, up last is a gimbal head. And the nice thing is today there's so many options for a gimbal head. You don't have to spend $500 or $600 on a high-end gimbal head. You can go with some of these other options. I chose to go with this one from K&F Concept. I forget the exact model number, but it's their deluxe version. It has a really good payload that it can take, and I think it retails for around $120 here in the US. In my case, I found it open box on eBay for $65, and at that price point, I felt like it was a no-brainer to add to my kit. It just is really nice because if you're somewhere where you're going to be in a position for a while, it's nice to not have to hold your lens, but it also makes it easier to get away with slower shutter speeds. And since this lens is not a prime, you know, your base f-stop is like f5.6, if you're getting into tougher lighting, you're kind of wanting to gamble with your shutter speed and slow it down a little bit. And having a steady base like a gimbal head really helps you do that. So all in all, I'd highly recommend you consider a gimbal head, and I'll link all the items I went with below. But anyway, did I miss any accessories? What are your thoughts? Anyway, these were my top 5. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, and I'll catch you guys later. Alrighty, bye.